dead animals. Hundreds of them.
This is not good, guys.
Can we get out of here? Which way?
Come on. I don't know. What do you mean you don't know?
There's no breeze. It could be any one of these tunnels. Take your pick.
Oh, fuck it.
Hello! Please. Is there anybody there? Hello!
All right, folks, another episode of America's Hometown Horror that's brought to you by Shine Through Window Cleaning. That's right, folks, Shine Through yet again. Shine Through Window Cleaning is a family-owned and operated company that proudly serves Plymouth and the surrounding area. They treat your home or business like they would treat their own, and they believe in building their reputation on every job they do. Get in touch with Shine Through today to discuss your window cleaning, gutter cleaning, and power washing needs at 781-812-9189 or at shinethroughwindowcleaning.com. That's Shine, T-H-R-U, window cleaning. Shine Through Window Cleaning. Hey, howdy, folks. What is going on? How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to another episode of America's Hometown Horror. My name is Mike, and as always, I am joined by my fellow co-host, Catherine.
Hello.
And Andrew.
I prefer it better when you say my esteemed co-host.
My esteemed co-host. Let's do it again. I'm joined, as always, by my esteemed co-host, Andrew and Catherine. Guys,
That has a better ring. Yeah.
how Jesus.
Oh, wow.
Hi.
You can say that.
Oh,
And
man, one week of sober January down, and I feel like my brain is fried. Jesus Christ. How are we all doing tonight? But that's okay. So what's going on? How's everybody doing? Everybody have anything eventful happen to them over the last week? Anything they watched? Anything new that's going on?
I went to Myrtle Beach. It was awesome.
Nice. That's awesome that you got a chance to travel and play some golf, see some family,
golf,
right?
Sit at a bar. Don't worry, I've had my test. I am good to go.
A-okay
I don't have
and clean
the
to
COVID.
go?
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. Excellent. Catherine, what about you?
I don't think I did anything really groundbreaking. I don't even think I watched anything really spooky.
Okay.
I didn't
Besides
really
these
say anything I
movies.
watched. I just ranted about Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
I did watch. So I watched the first episode because I was like, I'm so bored on trying to find stuff to watch. So I watched the first episode of that show, Sabrina.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
we
yeah,
watched
yeah,
that.
on
On
Netflix?
Netflix.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
Wasn't as bad as I thought. I was like, because I was like, it's going to be.
It's
cheesy.
actually not-
It was
it's not
actually
bad.
the first episode was actually really interesting. It kind of held my attention throughout.
Yeah.
It was a lot darker than I thought it was going to be. So
Yeah.
I may watch more. And then I watched a couple episodes of that show, Lucifer. You ever seen that?
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
It's
That was one of those shows that
it's like
I think it was
basic
on
TV. It's NBC or CBS.
Yeah,
or
and then
something.
it got canceled and picked up by Netflix for the final couple of seasons, I think, if I
was,
remember correctly.
It's kind of like every other show that's on now. Like, he's trying to solve crimes. So he's the devil on Earth in human form, and he owns like a bar. And he just uses being the devil as a way to do drugs, drink, influence people, have sex, like,
Ooh.
and then
Risque.
someone he's close to, he's close to dies, so he starts using his powers. Like one of his main abilities is his ability to get people to just say what they really want.
Right.
So he'll just ask them, and then he'll be able to help out with the investigations. So it's got a little bit of that cheese factor to it. It's 100% cheese.
Yeah.
But it seems like it could be good cheese, like good cheese that you watch just to like kind of dull out everything else that's going on.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. That sounds a lot like I keep seeing a lot of praise for that show Evil, which I think you said you watched.
Yeah, I watched
a few episodes of.
same idea.
Yeah,
It's basic cable television, so you're only going to get. That's what makes Hannibal so good.
yeah.
The
I
ability
agree.
where it was like off the charts.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Because I remember when we tossed around the idea of potentially doing a series of episodes on the X-Files, like over however long of a period of time, and just doing an episode on each season or whatever.
Now that may be something to look forward to, isn't it?
Potentially, yeah, potentially.
Potential. We don't want to give any. We don't want to say anything 100%.
Yeah, it's an idea.
That's pressure.
But I saw that Evil was kind of considered to be like inspired by the X-Files almost, like that type of feel and tone to it a little bit. You don't agree?
I don't agree with that.
Okay, fair enough.
Granted, I don't know. Maybe I'd have to. really pay attention.
Okay,
So,
fair enough. All right. Background noise, though, for sure. Gotcha.
love background noise.
All right. So, I got nothing, kid,
I was gonna
for
say,
news.
what about you?
I haven't really watched a whole lot. I mean, I know we've been kind of finishing up the newest season of Letterkenny that came out, and kind of getting through the holidays, I guess, if you will, and kind of the first week of January here. Now we're into week 2. But I haven't really watched anything spectacular and out of this world that I would like to report on, and actually have no news.
Yeah.
So I don't really.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So we're just gonna. I guess we're just gonna get rolling with our movie tonight, which is a good one, and I actually it's probably the best way to slice it because there's a lot to cover with this particular movie here, which
It can be quite the descent into madness.
that's correct.
Ooh,
perfect,
very nice.
Perfect segue there, Andrew.
You
So
like that, baby?
So as Andrew just alluded to, and if you've seen the episode title, you already know that we are covering The Descent tonight, which is a 2005 movie that absolutely fucking rocks. And I guess just as we always do, we'll start off with just overall thoughts on the movie. Andrew, I know you're chomping at the bit for this one, so why don't you go first?
I don't know if I'm chomping, but I'm here.
Okay.
So, no, I'm just kidding. No, I really love this movie. I think it's a great movie. When I first saw, you know how I said movies don't scare me? When I first saw this movie in 2005, or it was 2006 was a U.S. release, so it would be 2006 when I saw it. So I was like 20. This movie scared the shit out of me in the theaters. Maybe because it was dark and you weren't expecting these things to happen, but it just had a lot of, I mean, there was a lot of jump scares, obviously, but there was also just a lot of, like, it's claustrophobic, it's damp, it's moist.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
wetness.
It's dark. It's just like everything people are afraid of is in this movie.
Yeah.
Like it has everything. It's got everything. It's got revenge, redemption,
Yep.
Creatures.
babes, boobs, bad guys. No, monsters. It's a creature feature with scary monsters. It kind of remind me of like, you ever see that movie, The Time Machine?
The H.G. Wells, the one based in the H.G. Wells
Yeah,
story?
the one by Guy Pearce.
With Guy Pearce, yeah.
Terrible.
Yep.
I hated that movie. Kind of reminds me of those guys, like the creatures.
They
that
do look very
underground.
similar. Yeah.
Them, and then obviously, Gollum.
Yeah, I would say Gollum would be a less scary version of these monsters. I agree with you on all of that.
It's everything. It's got great.
Yeah.
It's got backstabbing, which, of course, if you have a movie with 6 women, there's going to be plenty of backstabbing.
Oh, yeah.
And there's going to be a whole
Lots
lot
of
of.
estrogen.
It gets real catty at certain points in this
Oh,
movie,
yeah.
which is kind of funny. Because it's like, I forget what comedian that was, but he was like, I like how you just get to wear whatever you want. Like he was making fun of like Ocean's 11 if it was all run by like 11 women, and they'd be commenting on each other's outfits. Like, I like how you get to wear whatever you want. And just, you know what I mean? I think it was John Mulaney. Maybe not.
okay.
I can't remember.
Okay.
I digress. Anyway, those are my thoughts. A+ movie. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Do it.
Catherine, what about you?
So I thought this was interesting that you guys wanted to do this because it's an older, like not an older movie, but what is it, 2007?
Can we not make me feel old?
No.
So
I mean,
you had 06 in your notes. I had that this came out in 05
In the UK.
in the UK. So okay, so maybe I did.
think
see
it was
in
in
06.
in June of 2006. from
Either
my
way,
notes.
this movie's 15 years old, which makes me feel fucking
wicked old.
ancient.
Yeah.
Because I, like Andrew, saw it in theaters, but I will get to that.
And I
Continue.
was
I
about
think
6
I might
months.
have too.
I was able to drink 6 months later.
Yeah, I think I saw it.
If I got my years right.
So you were surprised that we picked this?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's kind
This
of
feels like a cat.
girly. It's kind
a
of girly
cat
for you
because
guys.
there's all girls in it. But that
yeah.
still doesn't matter.
This was totally
Yeah.
a me pick. I didn't think that you would ever pick this movie. I fucking love this movie.
No, I like this movie. Yeah, it was out of left field. You guys are more like Alien, Predator.
This
you know,
is
like-
Alien. This is Predator, though. We'll
yeah.
get into that later.
I mean, I've never. Well, and I haven't seen either one of those. So I mean,
God.
Then what are you talking about?
It's just like the monsters from the. Anyways, so
I mean, it isn't those movies, but it is.
I
Kind of.
definitely liked this movie. I liked it when it first came out, and I like it now. I think when it first came out, I thought that it was almost a little bit cheesy. I don't know why.
It was cheesy. It's got cheese to it.
Like-
but it's not overly cheesy. It's got a great start. It's got a great finish.
I
and
mean-
it's got a great in between. So
I
it's
don't
not-
know about the cheese. This movie is a movie
There's-
that's meant
there's-
to be
okay.
taken, excuse me, very seriously.
And it is. But what I will tell you, though, is aside from what happens at the very beginning of the movie, the next 25 to 35 minutes of that movie where they're just at, like, the cabin and they're on the way there,
Sure.
It's plenty like stupid things
fluff.
that they're saying. It's fluff. It's just
Sure.
fluff, which you have in every
Sure.
movie.
But you have to give the characters some sort of background and make the audience.
You got to figure out who you're going to
invested
hate.
in what's going to
Who
happen.
do you want to die?
Exactly.
Who do you hope lives?
Which
And there
I think
you
is
go.
fairly obvious in this movie. But sorry, continue. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think the characters are great. The character evolution, the storyline. Like, I mean, all that was awesome. Even the monsters. The monsters are kind of realistic. I mean, you kind of like we can talk more about
They're
them
very realistic.
later on, but they're cool.
Yeah. Yep.
It hit me all the scary places, like the dark,
Yeah.
the caves, claustrophobia.
Yeah.
Definitely in that. So I mean, you
Yeah.
got all the real emotions out of it. So I liked it. Yeah, I'd say definitely watch it.
Okay.
I recommend.
So I agree with pretty much everything that you guys said, and I'll just put it simply: The Descent is one of the scariest movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
Terrifying.
The first time I saw this,
One of the scariest.
It is.
in your
This is.
entire
I just
life?
said
Yep.
that I got incredibly scared watching this movie, and I am the person that never gets scared watching
Yep.
anything. This movie terrified. It was
This
scary.
movie scared me. I'm talking like on a visceral level, only the way that movies like Alien, Jaws, or even like the Blair Witch Project.
Okay, like those are the ones
scared
I was
me.
gonna say. Like it's
Yep.
on that level.
On that
Really?
level for me. Yep. When I saw it in theaters, I wasn't just scared. I having active like anxiety attacks watching this. I mean, I remember seeing it. So if it came out in 2006 in the U.S., that means I was either 19 or 20, probably closer to 20 at that point. I knew very little about the plot, and I didn't have a ton of expectations going into it, and it absolutely blew me the fuck away. I remember I walked out of the theater, I was stunned. It was so good. And Andrew, just, kind of like what you were saying, there's just so many different ways that so many different things are in this movie. It's a lot to unpack. It builds dread right from the start. It's packed with a ton of deeper meaning and symbolism, which I found some interesting stuff that I will lay on you guys in a little bit. It's incredibly gory. Oh my god,
Yes.
It's gory and bloody. Awesome monster effects. And I loved this is an all-female cast. I think it added an element to a horror movie that you don't really see too often, especially 15 years ago. So it was kind of groundbreaking in that sense. And Andrew, you already kind of mentioned this, but there's such a huge variety of scares, and the movie's packed with them. Claustrophobia, darkness, fear of loss of loved ones, a bunch of extremely effective jump scares, which it's great to see a movie do this, because I hate when a movie just does all jump scares and nothing else. And this movie kind of hits you with a bunch of different stuff.
Well, that's the other thing, too, that I forgot about completely. One of the other main scares is that you're running for your life in the dark, and
In a
you
cave.
fall down a pit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Jesus.
Like, that's terrifying, too. Like, you're like, well, you can't not run, because if you don't run, then you're dead.
Yeah, I guess
And then if you
add a fear of heights into that as well. It's a great point. Didn't even think of that. But, we have also talked in the past about when a monster movie is truly great, you can remove the monsters from the plot and you still have a compelling story. And I think The Descent does fall into that category, because essentially the main plot is the drama between Sarah and Juno. Mm-hmm. And it's paid off, obviously, in a very, very satisfying way. So, all of those reasons, I think this is an incredibly effective, not only overall movie, but an incredibly effective horror movie that is very scary. And I'm not ashamed to admit, despite Kat making me feel silly, this is one of the scariest movies I've ever seen.
You shouldn't feel silly.
Yeah.
Silly. You shouldn't feel silly, because this movie's terrifying. Like I said, I agree with you completely.
Yep, I'm there too. So, Kat, you were saying you think it's kind of funny that we thought this movie was so scary. You don't really find it to be?
I mean, I find it in the same realm of the other thriller movies that I enjoy, like A Quiet Place. Like, right? That's the name of it? The one with the big spider?
Yeah, Quiet Place.
Yeah, where you're sitting at the edge of your seat with it's like anxiety driven versus like
This is way more anxiety,
boo
way more
scares.
horror than that movie.
I'm more of like a boo scare person, I guess.
There are boo scares.
There's a couple, yeah. No, I think so, but I mean, I'm not having nightmares.
You're a boo scare, but The Ring you're terrified of.
Oh, absolutely.
But that's not a boo scare.
Yes, it is.
How is that a boo scare?
When they
it takes
open the
10
closet,
minutes for the thing to crawl out of the TV.
When they have the face of the girl that's in the closet in the beginning, and at the very end, when they show her face, when they open it, and her face just like drops.
You have a
'cause it's
very
all, like-
specific set of fears. I
Yes.
thought you were afraid of the dark and
I am.
claustrophobia.
Oh yes, I am.
So therein lies why we. I guess
That's
we
why I
understand
don't get it. I would be.
Yeah.
This is the most terrifying situation for me to be
The
in.
scene
Well,
when
other than
when
being
the
eaten
scene
alive,
when
which you are
Sarah
being
gets
eaten alive.
stuck in the tunnel.
Yes.
The worst.
Horrifying, absolutely horrifying, because I could so easily picture myself being that freaked out, even
Right.
more freaked out in a situation like that. And
Yeah.
it's just like that. I mean, not that I would ever go cave diving or
And also,
spelunking.
not to be insulting, but Michael, you would look at that hole and go, "There's
There's no way I'm
in
going
hell
there.
I'm getting
No,
through there."
No, these are also.
First
these
off,
are
I'd get
also
stuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would get stuck
No,
in those
none,
holes.
none
Anyone
take.
would.
None
I
take.
mean-
yeah.
People are insane. Who
If
would
you
want to go
touch
do that?
like you go, yeah.
You deserve to be eaten by monsters.
Oh yeah, if
You
you're putting
decide to
yourself
go
in
to
that
it.
situation willingly. Oh, absolutely.
All right, cool. All right, good stuff, guys. Good stuff.
Was unwillingly though. Only one person willingly
Right.
did that.
Yeah,
True.
that's true.
That's true. So, guys, this is the first movie that we've covered from the year 2005. That's where I pulled all the movies from. So we're going to roll with 2005 here, okay? So let me lay a few of these movies on with you. Some real stinkers in here, okay? The Amityville Horror remake starring Ryan Reynolds.
I like that movie.
Yeah.
You don't like that? I like Ryan Reynolds.
Sorry,
too.
yeah, well, exactly. It's easy to see why you like Ryan Reynolds.
I like Ryan Reynolds too.
I like
And
Ryan Reynolds
I
too, but not
hate-
for the same reason.
But
as
I
you.
hate that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I like
It's
him.
I
not
like
great.
Ryan Reynolds because he's a stud.
Not great.
So, I'm kidding.
Not great. Constantine with Keanu Reeves.
I fucking love that.
As
movie.
I don't
do
know
I.
if I've seen that movie.
It's good. It's good.
That's up there. I'm not up there, but it's for the same year. It's number 2.
Pretty good. They've actually talked about potentially doing a sequel to that movie all these years later, with Keanu Reeves coming back to play.
Well,
John Constantine
he is like
in
the main thing right
DCEU.
now.
Yeah, dude, Keanu Reeves having a huge renaissance right now.
He's
So,
the
I
best
can see
at
that.
it, though. He plays that like I don't say anything kind of stare at you
Badass
for a
role?
while. Yeah, just doesn't say anything. He's like Ryan Gosling in my opinion.
Okay.
I mean, what are you
Oh
talking about?
no.
I know you love
He's
I
got more
like Ryan
depth. He's got
Gosling
more depth than Ryan
less,
Gosling.
I think. than
Yeah, he's got
Keanu
more
Reeves.
depth than Ryan Gosling.
So there's a movie called Cursed that came out in 2005. I actually never heard of this one, but it sounds interesting. It is a werewolf movie directed by Wes Craven that stars Christina Ricci and Jesse Eisenberg.
What's it called?
Weird.
Cursed.
Never heard of this.
Never
movie.
heard of it.
Wait, who
yeah,
is-
now I might have to
I
check
like
it out.
Christina Ricci. She's a
Yeah.
babe.
Christina Ricci and Jesse Eisenberg, directed by Wes Craven. Rest in peace.
Weird.
Interesting. We'll have to check that one out.
Yeah.
Devil's Rejects also came out in 2005.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah.
Overrated,
Yeah, overrated.
Yeah.
overblown, good.
Was that a Rob
I'm not
Zombie
a huge
Is it just me or
fan of
is every
zombie
Rob
movies.
Zombie movie overrated?
I'm not really
House
a
of a
fan
Thousand
of his body
Corpses
of
was
work.
okay.
I thought the Halloween remake he did was interesting, but it wasn't great. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of most of his movies.
Yeah,
don't know.
I mean, they get a lot of hype just because they put a Rob Zombie name on it. And
House of a Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects are probably his two best movies, but I still don't love them. So,
don't
but yeah,
remember
Devil's
movies
Rejects, a lot of
from
people do love. Came out in 2005. Speaking of yuck, the Doom movie with The Rock and fucking Carl Urban.
I don't
Stink.
Is he related to Keith Urban?
No, I don't think so. Maybe. I don't know. I think they're both from Australia. That would be interesting.
They're both from Australia?
Yeah, I think so.
That's weird. Then they're probably related.
Yeah, maybe. The Exorcism.
Australia's kind of
Urban?
big,
Australia?
though? I mean,
No, it's big, but
Urban.
to people with the name Urban,
Keep it in Hollywood.
maybe there's Urban and Suburban. That's the
my
last
God.
name. It's like, what's his name? Crocodile Dundee
Paul Hogan.
Suburban.
Yeah, exactly. The Exorcism of Emily Rose, which is a very good movie.
I like that movie.
Not a fan?
What was, because Catherine, Katie.
Who?
See, my roommate,
You're right. Okay.
Katie. I said
was like,
every
Who?
way you can say the word Catherine or Kathy, I said it. Oh, I did.
Yeah,
Kathy.
there you go.
Yeah, no,
Kathleen?
everything.
Nope.
Yep.
I think if you ever called her
Kathleen's a
Kathy,
different
she
name.
might kill you.
Kathleen's not a different name. That's your
Catherine
new name.
is different than Kathleen.
What is
Those are two
Kathleen
different
short
names.
for?
Kathleen's not short for
No,
anything.
it's-
It's
No,
Kathleen.
no. If you were to shorten Kathleen, what would you call them?
Kathy.
Kathy, Kate,
And if you were to
Katie.
shorten
Kat?
Catherine,
Okay,
Same-
I
it's
see
the
what you're
same-
saying.
It's overlapping
it's the
nicknames.
same
Yes,
fucking
yes,
name.
it
So
could be.
let's relax. There's only one Andrew.
She's
all there
she's
is.
looking at you with such a subdued sense of rage right now.
Oh,
There's
and I'm trying to incite that rage. I don't even remember what I was saying.
There's Walter too, though. So there isn't just one Andrew.
Walter and
to be
Andrew, yeah,
fair.
there is two.
But Andrew is
Walter,
Anyway.
Andrew,
Anyway,
Wilfred.
we don't
was
even
I
get
talking
into
about?
that.
The Exorcism of Emily Rose, and you were talking
Oh.
about Katie saying something.
Katie
Not
was-
Catherine.
Katie mentioned-
Not
Kat-
Catherine or
Katie.
Kathleen
Katie
or
mentioned. It's the chick from Dexter, right? In Emily Rose.
I don't
Oh,
know.
the blonde, the red chick, the redhead chick. What's her name?
No, Dexter's
His
sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what her name is, but
Oh,
she was also in some
you
movie
know?
with night vision on a camera.
Wreck
Was it Quarantine?
or Quarantine? Well, there was a movie called Wreck that was very popular.
I thought it was
foreign
Quarantine,
release,
but-
and Quarantine was the American remake of it.
Jennifer
I
Carpenter.
believe. Yeah, Jennifer Carpenter plays Emily Rose.
Oh, she does.
Yeah.
You didn't know that? That's Dexter's sister.
I know who.
How can
she
you forget
is.
that
I
face
just-
with that? She's got a long face with big eyes and a big mouth. She
I
does. She's got
liked
that
her.
long face.
You pay attention to people's faces more than anybody I know.
That's
It's so
how
funny.
I know what movie she was in.
Okay.
Because I was
Fair
remembering
enough.
her face.
Fair enough.
I liked Emily Rose, and I didn't put that together.
Is she in Quarantine?
Oh my god.
Can you look up her IMDb thing?
Yeah, she looks like her.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, Exorcism of Emily Rose is a good movie, directed by Scott Derrickson, who went on to direct Sinister after another movie or two. After he did Exorcism of Emily
Good
Rose.
follow-up.
Boom! Say that 10 times fast. Oh, speaking of terrible remakes, The Fog remake of the John Carpenter movie.
Oh, I
Yikes.
didn't know there was a
Nope.
remake.
Hostel, the original one, came out
was
in
on my
2005.
That's a solid movie.
Solid movie.
It's a typical, what's his dumb name? Eli Roth.
Yep.
Movie. He. You know who he reminds me of? Quentin Tarantino. Like, if they could blow
they're
themselves.
buddies. Yeah, they're buddies.
Oh, what a surprise, because
Yeah.
they love to blow themselves.
That is.
They really think they are the greatest thing, and they probably blow each other. And there's nothing wrong with that if they do, but they probably do.
That movie is the epitome of murder porn.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Well, like
Every one of his movies
Like,
is
that
the
is-
same thing.
so. Okay,
That movie
so,
in particular,
So
I feel
Hostel.
like.
So when you think of the torture porn genre of horror,
Genre.
the two
Genre.
films genre.
Rest in peace,
The
Alex.
two movies that come up again and again are Saw and Hostel. Saw, I don't think quite belongs on the same level as Hostel.
Nope.
Hostel is way more gross.
Saw's way better of a movie.
It is way better of a movie. Yeah.
It's not murder porn, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Yep.
Right.
That's all those movies are.
But literally
Eli
in
Roth.
Hostel,
Hope he's listening.
people die
Right
and
now.
they get off like other people dying, like killing people. So
Right.
it actually is murder porn. Really?
Sure. Like, yeah.
Like
Oh, okay.
You
I
know?
didn't know we were getting into that level of murder porn. You creep.
Informative murder porn, like in South Park.
Is this Forensic Files? No, it's murder porn.
This
This
movie,
is Channel 82.
this
Don't worry
movie,
about it.
I already can tell, Kat, that you love this movie, and
Yeah,
I
I
don't
do.
even have to ask
seen
you.
it a lot of times.
Guess what movie I-
House of Wax.
Oh, that movie! Oh yeah, that movie too.
Chad Michael Murray and Paris Hilton,
Oh, that
and
was such a good movie.
The original version, I wanted to see that movie so bad because the original one with Vincent Price.
good,
So good.
very
Well,
good.
It's Vincent Price. It's every Vincent Price movie. It's so,
Macabre.
it's so, like, he always does the narration. This is Vincent Price.
Yes, I
saying-
love
Wait,
it.
so
I
did
love
you
his
see
voice.
House of Wax?
I did see the remake. It was
Creepy.
trash. It's
I know,
the
a lot of
idea.
people- a lot of
no,
people
no, no,
didn't
no.
like it.
Okay, so yeah, the story's good. They wouldn't make a remake of a movie with a bad story.
Right.
It's just badly done because it's just for teenagers to show little tits and ass.
Like, yeah, who,
Move on.
what,
You just
what,
laugh at
hot,
Paris
what
Hilton.
hot people can we bring into this movie? But I mean, like,
Paris Hilton was big then.
yeah,
Paris Hilton
thing.
would have gotten it.
Yeah.
it's all right.
She probably would have kind
all
of
right.
liked it because she doesn't look like she likes sex from her video. I'm just saying. Looks like she thought that. We're talking about something from so long ago that people are like, who the fuck's Paris Hilton?
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
it's right next to Paris, France.
House of Wax feels like it shouldn't have come out in 2005. It should have come out in 1995. That's what
Or
it feels like it would have
2001.
fit. Yeah.
Because it was all the same up until then.
Yeah.
Up until 28 Days Later came out, they were all the same.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
so. Back, like in that, the 90s sucked.
Yeah. Well. Okay.
Late 90s.
There's some
95 on.
There's some
Scream, whatever.
unknown good movies from the 90s that we actually haven't covered a lot from the 90s. Maybe we can
But there's
do
a
more of
lot
that, but-
less good ones.
Correct. Not as good as the 80s, not as good as... Yeah, I agree. A good movie from a good director, Land of the Dead. Did you ever see that? It's in the Night of the Living Dead series by
I
George
can't
Romero.
remember
Has
how many of Dead movies I've seen.
Has Dennis Hopper in it. It's good.
Gotta like Dennis Hopper.
Decent. Yeah, it's a good movie. Catherine, The Ring 2 came out in 2005.
I don't know.
It's not as good.
I don't remember The Ring 2. I think I'm sure I saw it at some point, but it wasn't memorable to
Yeah,
me.
obviously The Ring is the more popular movie there. Oh, and look at this. We've come full circle. Saw 2 came out in
boy.
2005. And Saw 2 is a good sequel.
Yeah, I like
I think
Solid.
that was the last.
First two,
the
I
last.
didn't
The
watch
first two
three.
were very.
We've said
the first
this
one's a
before.
classic. The second one is very good, and the rest of them.
Second one's with the needle pit, right?
3 through,
Oh God, yeah, that one's gross.
Saw 3 through 37.
Yeah,
That's I'm good with that.
Yeah, but with that being said, I do want to see the new one when it comes out
I like
next year,
Double
obviously.
Honesty. That's okay.
The Skeleton Key with Kate Hudson. You seen
Oh,
that
I
movie?
like
Not
that
a bad
movie.
movie.
Yeah, not a bad movie. Decent.
The one in New Orleans.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I like that kind of
I like that voodoo
like,
vibe.
Louisiana type,
Yeah.
backwoods type thing. That's pretty cool. And then to round it out, a very disturbing movie, Wolf Creek, came out in 2005.
That movie's like Hostel. I actually have that movie. I bought it from Blockbuster. I was just going through my DVDs. And then I was like, I have 30 days a night. I can watch my DVD of it because we're doing that for one of the episodes. And then I realized that's great that I have the DVD, but I don't have anything to put the DVD into. Because unless you play video games, I don't even know if that works on a PS5. Does it? Or like, if you have a new PlayStation, does
DVDs?
a shitty DVD work?
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's backwards compatible for DVDs, but it's
that's
meant
good.
for Blu-ray and like 4K.
not that I would ever
HD
buy one of
Blu-ray
those
type
because I
stuff.
don't play enough video games.
Yeah.
But Wolf Creek, fucked up movie.
Yeah, very fucked up.
It's
very
kind of like
disturbing.
Hostel, same idea.
Yeah, very like an Australian Hostel, pretty much. But I think after all those movies, I think The Descent reigns king among all of those.
There was only that one that was close.
Constantine, you said, was your.
But that's
was your
not.
two.
That's not really a horror movie.
Yeah, it's got horror elements.
Yeah, but that's not a horror
But
movie.
yeah,
I don't think it is.
I wouldn't say it is.
and you haven't seen it also. So.
I would say Devil's Advocate's more of a horror
Just
movie.
I
Than
remember
Constantine.
Devil's Rejects.
No, Devil's Advocate. I was going.
Oh,
on the
you're
lines
talking
of
about more Keanu Reeves movies. Gotcha.
But I
Isn't
think that's more of a
Constantine
horror
about him
movie.
being like an angel or
But
something?
it isn't.
No, he's basically he plays. It's a
Constantine? Yeah,
DC
he is
character,
an
John
angel.
Constantine, where he's
Yeah.
he's like a paranormal investigator
So
type
he
thing.
just, yeah,
But he
like,
has-
He has,
He's
he
got
has,
some
he has
sort
like
of angel blood in him.
psychic abilities and like all kinds. Like I forget exactly what
Yeah, that's not horror movie.
the exact powers.
I thought
that
he was
has
an
are.
angel.
I thought it was.
Constantine's an angel.
Okay, maybe you're right.
I think he's an angel.
He doesn't want to say that. I'm
Because there's a lot of parts that happen in that movie.
Sure,
where
he's
you're
an
like,
angel. You're right, Kat.
He's an angel of death.
He's an angel of death. All right, you guys want to get back to The Descent here?
Yes.
So
We're
The Descent.
descending into our own madness.
The Descent. We're descending further into this podcast. So the Descent was written and directed by a guy named Neil Marshall. Okay, this was his second movie. He the first one that he did was a movie called Dog Soldiers that came out in 2002. You ever see that?
Is that where they turn into werewolves?
It's essentially a werewolf movie where they're in Scotland
They're
and
Nazis?
it's a British combat unit on a training mission in the Scottish Highlands, and they get attacked by werewolves, and it is awesome. It's
That's a good movie?
So
Yeah.
good. Yeah, it's very good. I
haven't
would
seen
recommend
that.
checking it out. Phenomenal werewolf movie.
I like dogs and I like soldiers.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like turtles.
I like turtles.
Yeah.
So Neil Marshall also went on to direct a bunch of cool stuff. So for film work, he directed a segment of an anthology called Tales of Halloween. Have you ever seen that?
Tales of Halloween.
Is that a cartoon?
No, it's a horror anthology. It's not a cartoon. It's a real one. I saw it once. It's pretty good. It's worth checking out. I think it's on either Prime or Hulu, one of those streaming services. But he did that. He directed the Hellboy reboot that came out last year, which was not well received. But
I didn't really see the first one.
he also went on to do some stellar TV work after this. He directed some of the best episodes of Game of Thrones, including the Battle of Blackwater and the Watchers on the Wall.
Nice.
So you might have gotten that far into
Sorry
the show.
if I was snoring during
Oh,
that.
okay.
Wow.
Because Game of Thrones is boring.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, we're not going to get into that.
Yeah.
He also directed episodes of Black Sails, which is that pirate show that was on Starz
Yar!
or whatever. So I've heard it's good, never seen it.
Mike, you
Gar.
know what a pirate's favorite letter is?
Arr!
You think it's the R, but it's the C.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So he did episodes of Black Sails, a bunch of episodes of Hannibal, and a few episodes of Westworld. So he's done a lot of stuff on TV.
There was a show I wish was better, and I wish I had
Yeah,
watched
Westworld
past
sucks.
season one.
And season one was
Westworld
great.
sucks. The first season was great, and it fell off so hard. I hate Westworld now. I can't. We didn't even finish the third season. It sucked so bad. Anyway, back to The Descent. So even though The Descent takes place in North Carolina, that's where they all go spelunking and cave diving, it actually was shot entirely in the United Kingdom. All the exterior shots of the woods, all that stuff, filmed in Scotland, and all the interior shots were done at Pinewood Studios, which is a famous film studio outside of London. They never actually used real caves. They were all sets which were built, which gave me a huge sense of relief, because if I had found out they were actually in these caves, crawling around, trying to film this movie, I don't know how they would have done it logistically, but it would have been so much more
It would have had to
horrifying.
be done, like, point of view.
Yeah, exactly.
Like my favorite porn.
Yeah,
Brazzers.
obviously the filmmakers thought it would be too dangerous and too time-consuming to actually film in caves. Duh. Marshall had some pretty interesting inspirations for this movie. Okay,
Can I guess two? And
Oh,
probably
can I
not
guess
right.
one? Is this going to be a game?
Sure, let's just all guess.
The
Go
thing,
ahead.
the thing,
Yep.
and probably not one of them. Storm of the Century.
Not Storm of the
Oh
Century.
no, I'm thinking of.
You got The Thing. The Thing was one of them. Because the score, actually, there's some
thinking of,
parallels of...
I was going to say, there.
Yeah. It's okay.
Anyway,
The music.
But the
music
thing was
in
one
The
there.
Thing was one of the inspirations for this
Interesting.
movie. Yeah,
I didn't even
yeah.
think that.
It's all right. Don't worry about it. So yeah, he cited basically the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Thing, and Deliverance
You didn't let me
as
guess.
inspirations for this movie. What
And
would
you
what
know
would
why?
You have guessed?
I would have guessed a Mexican C note. Because that's kind of what it looks like when they go down there.
You would have guessed a Mexican C note as the movie inspiration for
Oh,
the
no,
movie
you
The
didn't say
Descent.
what inspired him.
Movies.
Okay.
Mexican see what?
A C note.
A C note. It's like a giant cave that you can
can
jump
jump
into
and swim
water.
into it.
Like
Oh.
we've
Natural,
gone to a few of
spring
them in
I thought this
Mexico.
was some bar you'd been to.
No!
The Mexican C note, those $2 sangria C notes
my
were
God.
delicious.
No, it's like a natural, like, cave.
All right, I get it now.
water. Okay.
I'm illiterate. I do know why. One of the reasons why Deliverance was mentioned. Mm-hmm. So this takes place, if you see the sign when they're driving, it's the Chattooga National Park.
Yep, which is
and this takes place
in
on the
North Carolina.
Chattooga River.
Yes.
Which is where Deliverance takes place, but in Georgia.
Okay, all right.
It's the same river.
I did not know that. Good job.
Good fact.
That's how that was linked to Deliverance.
Yeah, so Texas Chainsaw, The Thing, and Deliverance were all inspirations here, and this is a direct quote from Neil Marshall. So we really wanted to ramp up the tension slowly, unlike all the American horror films you see now. They take it up to 11 in the first few minutes and then simply can't keep it up. We wanted to show all of these terrible things in the cave. Dark, drowning, claustrophobia. Then, when it couldn't get any worse, make it worse. Which they succeeded in doing.
You know what else I thought was interesting, too, when you talk about where it took place?
Throwing shade at those American
So they
horror
mentioned
movies.
the Boreham Caves.
Yep.
There are no Boreham Caves in North Carolina or in the Appalachian Mountains. There is a Boreham Cave, though, in the UK. In a section of Yorkshire Dales.
Okay.
So that's probably, they probably had seen, it's probably nearby to where they filmed,
Yeah,
is my guess.
that would make sense, I would think. Okay. So in terms of the crawlers, the dwellers, the monsters, whatever you want to call them, they call them crawlers here. Do you know what the inspiration for the character design was?
Bats?
Bats, very similar, but there was one specific movie character that they kind of modeled
Gollum?
them after. Not Gollum. Old, think way back.
I
Nosferatu?
can't see.
Yes.
Really?
Nosferatu.
Okay. That was a complete guess, too. Bang. Nailed it.
Designed to
Look at the
resemble
ball games,
Nosferatu
I
from
had
the
to
film
sit here.
Nosferatu from 1922.
You would never have guessed that, because I doubt you've ever seen Nosferatu.
Yes, I have.
Really?
You've seen Nosferatu?
The
The
original one?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
black and white one?
Yeah, the silent film
Yeah,
Nosferatu.
I've seen it.
Oh,
Okay.
shocking.
Why?
Because there's so many
That's
things
such a
you
classic
haven't
movie.
seen. Aliens!
Yeah, you haven't seen Alien or Predator.
I'm sorry that I thought that you hadn't seen this, because you haven't seen Aliens.
No,
So,
I mean, I probably
my
have
bad.
seen Alien or Predator at some point in my life. I just don't remember it. But
Alien,
I mean, you know,
Alien,
like,
Alien. I am so sorry I said aliens.
Alien or
Either
Aliens.
way,
Yeah.
still bad.
Okay. All right, so you've
Well,
seen Nosferatu. I
yeah.
stand corrected.
Yes, I have.
So basically, when they were coming up with the design, obviously they were inspired by Nosferatu, and one of the big differences they cut out was that the creatures had huge white eyes, and they scrapped this idea because it looked too silly, and it took them 3.5 hours to transform
You know
each
what?
actor into
Credit
one of
to
these
them, though,
crawlers.
because the
Yeah.
eyes they ended up on
Yeah, terrifying.
were awesome.
Oh, yeah. Well, they looked very real.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Very
gross.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the appearance of the creatures actually was kept secret from all the cast until the first scene that they're in with them, that jump scare. In the
Imagine
competition.
that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Ready?
so-
Dark.
So their reactions
Jesus.
their reactions were genuine, as they should have been, because honestly I think that is probably, I can't think of a jump scare that scared me more
Would
than
be-
that
yeah.
ever. That was
Props to that
awesome.
director, too.
Yeah. Oh, so great.
What
It was
a great idea.
So well done. So well done. And one of the interesting thing that Neil Marshall did with these monsters is that he insisted that all the people playing them were actually professional actors instead of stunt people, because he wanted all of them to cultivate a distinct character. Although even in the finished film, most of them only appear for a few seconds at a time, right? So he wanted them to really be scary, really have a personality, and separate themselves from other movie monsters, which is pretty interesting. So I thought that was kind of cool.
I think that makes sense because I think a lot of them, if they were like lurking through, they had different personalities. I mean, between like the males and the women, like you could tell there was different genders, and like at some points, and different ones just looked a little different than the others.
Yeah,
so.
you definitely could tell the difference between male and female. There were also some smaller ones in there that were meant to be children, which I will get to more of that in a second here. But you can definitely tell the difference, which I think makes it a little bit more effective. another interesting thing. So, with the exception of Sarah's husband, who is in the first few minutes of the movie, as well as some non-speaking extras in the hospital scene that follows, there are no other men that appear in this movie at all. So this is actually the complete opposite of that movie Dog Soldiers that he directed, which the movie is entirely men except for one other character. It was originally planned for this movie to have male and females in the cast, but Marshall realized that horror films barely have an all-female cast, and he kind of wanted to roll with that.
Great idea.
Yeah. So, and to avoid making them cliched, he actually went to several of his colleagues and friends that were female and kind of asked about dynamics among friends and how things would go in a situation like this. So it actually was a little bit more.
And you know what's funny
to the character
about it is it probably would have been the same if a guy had just been like, "This is how girls act with each other."
I know, right?
No, I'm sorry. Oh, that's sexist, misogynist. But it's true. There's going to be six
I'm
girls
not
together in a
here,
cave.
so.
Well,
That ain't going to go
You
well.
guys can just rant.
It's not going to go well. I'm sorry. If you were with 6 females in a cave fighting for your life, how would that go?
Not well.
No, exactly.
No,
I'm
not
sorry.
at all.
And it wouldn't go well if it was 6 guys because you got the overly bearing alpha male. Like, both sexes have their downfalls.
Oh, absolutely.
Just admit the fact, which you did. So good for you. Yeah.
well, there's also in this movie there's one character that is trying to be the alpha female, and it kind of blows up in her face. Obviously, Juno is meant to be that kind of character here.
And Holly's the one who's supposed to know what she's doing, and she falls and
Nope,
slips in her.
wrong person.
What? No, she's supposed to be the one that's Juno's friend.
Yeah, Holly's the Irish one that breaks her leg.
She's
And
my
she-
least favorite character in the whole movie.
Worse than Juno? Oh, I hate Juno. She's the worst.
She might as well be like
slips down
Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah.
Like,
She's like,
she seems like a
running through
stereotype
these
of a
caves.
lesbian.
I mean, I think she does say at one point that she doesn't want to get married and have babies. I guess not impossible if you do.
But didn't you say Juno's like her side piece?
A protege. They use the term. That's they use protege.
Oh, they don't say side
so basically, like Juno, they're all. So I mean, they're all meant to be kind of these badass women that are all, successful, smart, adventurous.
I ask Michael, who...
Yeah.
You're not involved in this. Actually, you can answer this question.
All right, fine.
Out of
I'll
the
figure
6,
it out.
who do you find to be the sexiest? If we're going to do this movie, we need to answer that question.
Sarah's friend, Beth.
Short, dark hair?
Yes.
She's attractive.
Yes.
I agree with... That's top 2.
Yeah. I guess Juno's attractive too, but
Juno's
I hate
she's
her
always got
character so much
tits
that I
pushed
never.
up the whole time. It's like, I mean, she does.
Yeah, she does.
All right.
So that kind of gives her points, even though she didn't do anything for that.
Yeah.
Because if any of them had their tits pushed up, they'd
Right.
probably get points.
Well, I feel like Sarah's friend Beth was the most relatable character too. Like she has some of the funniest lines in the movie when they come up on the mouth of the cave when they first start to go down. And she says, "Jesus Christ, I'm a fucking English teacher. I'm not Tomb Raider." So I thought that was funny. Yeah, I like her character.
What about you, Catherine?
She's the best friend, so obviously she has a little bit more depth to her than some. I think everyone else is kind of a supplemental character aside from Beth, Sarah, and Juno.
I was just saying, who do you find to be the most sexiest? Wasn't asking for a woman's insight into that character.
Well, you just asked her for an opinion on something, right? So
I didn't even answer the question.
no, I know, but I wasn't finished.
No, Mike was good. Mike was right. Beth was good. Number 2. I didn't need the chick details after. I just wanted... just kidding. Anyway, Kat, you pick yours. I was making it misogynist. There's 6 girls in a cave. You got to talk about that.
Sexiest?
Yeah, who's
I
your
think
babe?
the main character girl. What's her name?
Sarah?
Sarah.
The Norwegian?
Yeah.
The Norwegian?
Yeah, the Norwegian.
She's not Norwegian
She's
at
all
all.
She's not?
No, she's from Scotland. All these people are from Scotland,
Hair
Ireland,
last
and
bitch
America.
from Europe. Mine was Sam.
yeah.
So.
Sam?
The one that was going to be the doctor, the mousy bitch.
Actually, she was very.
She was kinda hot.
she was cute too.
Okay. Cool.
I just thought I'd add in a question. It's all 6. It's 6
That's fine.
females.
That's fine. Okay.
And
all right.
first off, just so you know, when it's a 6 dude movie, I'll probably ask the
same question.
Okay.
Okay. Fair enough.
Because that's what I do.
That's fair.
Did we ever ask her who the sexiest person in the thing was, even though we already know who it is? Kurt Russell, clearly.
We already answered that question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's always
So, yeah,
I
it's
know.
like, okay,
no,
hey.
Are you sure it's not Wilford
What's
Brimley?
diabetes?
No.
Diabetes.
Another excuse to throw in the diabetes sound drop.
Diabetes.
Oh my goodness. All right. So what's fair is fair, I suppose. You guys want to hear some analysis that I found about what this movie actually is about?
Sure.
Want to follow me down follow the bouncing ball here?
Sure.
Okay. So it's been theorized that The Descent, this entire movie, including the title, is referencing Sarah's descent into her subconscious to deal with the reality of the trauma that she's been attempting to process for the prior year.
Sounds about right.
So it appears that, at least subconsciously, Sarah is aware of the infidelity between her husband and Juno, but before the quote-unquote descent, she is either unwilling or unable to process that information. Okay? Going underground is said to be quote-unquote dream imagery for going into your subconscious. The girls get trapped, and as they move deeper and deeper into the caves, or deeper and deeper into Sarah's subconscious, this is the point where they encounter the creatures, which is a metaphor for Sarah's trauma that she experienced. Okay? At the lowest level of her subconscious, that is where Sarah becomes officially aware of Juno's infidelity. Also at her lowest point in the caves, because she sees her best friend die, she finds Juno's necklace. And also in this section of the cave, Sarah had killed one of the younger monsters, and you actually see one of the female monsters that's assumed to be the younger one's mother is grieving over that, which mirrors her experience with her daughter.
I missed that part, but
Yeah.
that's the favorite scene. That's my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Good stuff.
So that's as deep as it goes, right?
So there's a little bit more. So then, after she finds out what Juno did, she stabs Juno in the leg and leaves her for dead. Intentionally. Which is the exact opposite of what Juno did to Beth. Juno stabbed Beth by accident, but willingly left her there to die and didn't try and save her. And then finally, Sarah's final ascent out of the caves, where she comes out and she comes back in daylight, that symbolizes her leaving her subconscious. Fully aware of everything that's happened now.
So they're trying to say that
kind of out there.
She's saying that she killed everybody?
No.
It's just what's going on in her mind.
Correct.
Okay.
Which obviously,
because she clearly couldn't have killed everybody in there.
Correct.
There's plenty of times where that doesn't.
Right.
That was one of the theories too, was that she actually killed all 6 women, or all 5, the other 5.
Yeah. See, I didn't see anything about that. I mean, I guess I could see that as a theory, but
how though? I mean, some of them.
No, that's where the holes
Yeah.
are. They weren't around when she did that.
Yeah.
Well, I just think that that's extremely interesting, and I think it makes sense, because this movie has a lot of dream imagery, and there's a lot of scenes that are clearly supposed to be dreams.
What I think is interesting about that, though, because I'm into that, makes sense, but so you said nowhere does it bring up the fact that the possibility that Juno's child is, like, that's her child, not Jessica's.
Yeah.
No, Jessica is Juno's child, not Sarah's. It looks more like her.
Yep.
The moment they have when he first pulls her in with the paddle at the beginning, after they fall off, after Sarah pushes Sarah pushes her off and they pull her up, and then when they're in the car driving, the reason they get in the car accident because it looks like the husband has something he needs to tell his wife, and he just doesn't know how to say it, and it happened just after that interaction between the two, and there's always this. There was another part in the movie too where Juno. Beth said something to Juno. She's like, she lost so much in that accident. And then Juno says she's not the only one that lost something. Possibly referring to the daughter, because maybe that if they were having an affair, it's very possible that brown-haired girl that looks more like Juno than could be her daughter and not...
I need to look at a picture.
Well,
I don't
hold on a
think
second.
that...
Wait. How would Sarah not know if she wasn't pregnant with her own child?
That's a good point.
100%
That's
true.
a very good point.
You had me for a second there, then I was like, wait a second.
Unless you
Let's
could-
logistically think about this.
Now I figured out why no one
Wait a
had ever
minute.
thought of this.
Wait a minute.
Because
Wait a
time
minute.
out.
It could be from maybe they had a relationship.
Maybe
Maybe they just,
Arnold
I don't know.
Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito were in this, and it was twins.
The only way it could have happened would have been if
No.
he had gotten Juno pregnant and been in a relationship with her before he got married to Sarah, and he already
And
had
Sarah
the-
would have known at
he
that
had
point.
she would have known.
So, no.
Right? I mean,
Yeah, she would have had to know that.
No, because
except
Juno would have always had to have given birth to the baby.
correct. So,
Yes.
so Sarah would have known, because it's implied that they're very good friends. So that's something that I like where your head's at, but
It made
Yeah,
sense at the
I know-
time.
yeah, I know.
Now I'm like,
it's okay.
as soon
Sarah,
as you said that, you were like, wait a minute.
it's like wait,
Yeah,
whoop.
wait a minute.
Light slowly dawned on Marblehead here, and I was like, wait a second. I was like, the husband couldn't have given birth here. I know it's 2021, excuse me.
Did
but,
he die in the
no.
movie too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
He died, like, in
so
the
that's what she
beginning.
lost then.
That's what she lost, the husband.
And
her lover.
and her daughter. She
And her
lost
daughter.
her husband and her daughter.
No, but
in
he's
the
saying...
car.
I was
he's
implying
saying,
that
he's
Juno
saying,
was his
He's saying
daughter.
Juno at one point says, you're
I
not the
know,
only person that
I know,
lost
lost
something that day.
and you
Yeah.
thought that it was, I know.
Okay.
That's pretty funny. No, that doesn't get edited out.
Oh, all right.
No.
Man.
Any other thoughts
like
on what you what you think this movie might mean?
I mean,
You don't have to. It's
I've
okay.
already made a fool of myself.
I think you've said enough.
Okay. All right.
I'm done.
We will move on to our categories. We've kind of already covered that you and I, Andrew, both find this movie to be scary. So I say, is it scary? Yes, yes, and yes. Kat, I know you don't think it's the scariest movie you've ever seen, but it's an intense movie. Let's just say that. Catherine, do you have a favorite scene in this flick? What is your favorite scene?
The scene that you were talking about when Sarah kind of has the whole... She finds her... What's her friend's name with the short hair?
Beth.
Beth.
I think it's Beth, yeah.
She finds Beth. She finds out that Juno had an affair with her husband or a relationship or whatever.
Yeah.
And like she there's this rage in her that you just see, like she's a new, like, transformed person. Like she just becomes this, like, powerhouse.
Oh, yeah.
That's where she becomes, like, when you're like, who's sexy? I'm like, that's that attitude that she gets, and she's just like,
She turns into such a
bitch,
badass.
like, yeah, she's like just a badass. Like she just, you see her like something like turn in her head.
You fucked my husband, then lied about it? Fuck you.
Fuck you,
she's just
die.
done
Yeah.
done taking any shit from anybody. I love it. Yeah, that's a great scene.
And that, well, I mean, gore factor when she falls into that blood pool,
Ooh, yeah, that's
and
nasty.
there's the woman creature in there, and she's like in this pool of blood.
You know, you only get one best scene.
That's the same scene.
You have a few. You can do it. You can do a few.
I'm just fucking with you.
That's like the same. It rolls into that scene.
Does it?
Well, from when she finds Beth to when she counters.
They're back-to-back scenes,
Juno,
yes.
they're
Yep.
like the same.
Sure.
But yeah, that blood scene is fucking
No.
nasty.
No.
When she stabs Juno?
No. When she's in the bath, like when she falls.
That's not back
into
to back with that other scene.
Yes, it is.
After she
After,
finds
you did backwards.
out, after she finds out about Juno and Beth dies,
Yep.
she like stumbles out of that cave and falls into that giant
yes,
pool of like
yes.
bloody water.
Yeah.
That's what she's talking
All
about.
right. I think you're talking about when she kills Juno at the end.
No, because then
it's-
she finds Juno and she's covered in blood
Yeah,
from that
yeah,
thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she looks like that's like
Carrie shit.
That's like iconic horror villain, iconic horror heroine status right there. Like she is just totally killing it,
Yeah.
literally and figuratively. Okay, cool, good one, Andrew. What about you? What's your favorite scene?
My favorite scene is when Sarah is in that pool of blood and emerges.
Yeah.
Yeah,
From the
that's
pool of
cool.
blood.
That's
So
cool.
when you were talking about Predator, completely doesn't follow the same logic in both movies, but when Arnold in Predator realizes that it's reading his
heat signature,
heat signature, he covers himself with mud to be hiding, and he's hiding. It reminded me of that scene kind of when she was
Yeah.
covered in blood and when she was laying on the rocks.
Yeah.
And the thing was standing on top of her, and it just—it's
a good fight
It
scene,
just
too.
drooled. Ugh. It
Oh
was
my
so-
god, that
Yeah, that was nasty.
all over. That was my favorite scene because
Yeah,
that was the
that's
most
nasty.
like badass, gross. It had everything in it at once, and I was like,
Yeah.
so gross.
Oh, is
Get
that
up!
what it was?
And
Yeah.
and I was like,
So
and that
nasty.
led me to believe though that like how stupid are these things? Because you're standing on something that's not a rock; it's clearly a warm human being.
Well, I
And you
think
can't realize that it's not. You're a bat,
Yeah.
so that's going based off strictly
No
Sound.
sound,
Yeah.
but it can't smell.
yeah, it's a
You
good
always
point.
have your scent.
Good point.
There's plenty of times in that movie where it should
They do
smell
have. They
them.
do have nostrils.
Yeah.
They have nostrils.
What are you breathing in?
Nothing. Probably like
Maybe the fact that
moldy
she was
cave.
covered in blood and all that stuff, she smelled. Like
She blended in,
death.
but there's other times in the movie too where they were right there.
Dude, they all probably
and they
smelled
couldn't smell it.
rancid in this movie.
You would have been
like,
able to
running
smell it.
around
If you're a dirty crawler of the earth,
Yeah.
you're going to smell rotting flesh,
Oh yeah.
True.
and you're going to eat it.
Right.
True. Okay.
So, little plot hole, but whatever.
All right. Cool. So, all right. So her coming out of the pool of blood. Anything else?
I mean, that was really good. The other good scene was when Juno kills Beth.
I thought you said you could only have one scene.
Well, you had two, so and he just
okay.
asked me, "Do you have anything else?" When Juno is mid-fight, fighting for her life, protecting those around her, something creeps up on her, doesn't announce itself,
Yeah.
and she stabs it in the head or
Yeah.
the side of the neck.
The neck, yeah.
When she kills Beth, it's not her fucking fault. Hey, idiot! Why don't you announce yourself? This bitch was just in a fight.
Yeah.
So Beth's got nothing to
I
complain about.
tend to
Beth
agree with
deserved
that.
to die.
I mean, I
Maybe
can see
you
that.
should have done something. She was useless.
Well, I don't think she deserved to die. But obviously, that was an accident. But the more cowardly thing is what she did after the fact.
Is she just left her there?
Just left her there to die.
Well, we can get into that later.
Yeah.
Because we will. Mm-hmm. But I can get into it now if you want to just get it over with.
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
So she stabs her in the neck. She does what 50% of people would have done.
Fled.
Yeah, because the monsters are fucking encroaching. It's you and these four. 50% of people in that situation are going, she's dead, which she is. Mm-hmm. I don't even know how she was alive at that point in the movie when Sarah found her.
Yeah, Kat brought that up last night, too. Is that
you got stabbed in the side of the neck with a pickaxe.
Like a long time ago.
How long did you live? How did you live that long?
And she's not even alive. She's talking
She's
to
coherent.
her. Yeah.
She's telling her everything.
Yeah.
You would go, you'd be dead 10 minutes later.
Oh, yeah.
5 minutes
You'd be
later.
passed out by...
So that's another
Blood loss.
giant plot point. So fuck Beth. You're dead.
Yeah.
In my eyes, you were dead when that happened.
Yeah.
Juno knew you were going to die, and she did what any other smart person would have done. Got to save myself, because she's dead.
Yeah, and what are
she
you going
didn't
to
mean to stab
drag her around? She's going to die
Juno
eventually
gets a
anyway.
bad rap.
So if that were your best friend or one of your best friends, you would have left them there.
See
as well?
you fucking later. You shouldn't have snuck up on me.
Never going cave diving with you, bro.
No. You say you wouldn't do that, and I bet you would.
I feel like you have to.
If
at
you're
least
put
try.
in that moment. No, yeah, she went.
You just don't give Andrew a knife.
All right. Here's how you try.
Or sharp objects.
Here's how you try. You lean over the body, and you put your hand next to the big hole you just put in the side of her neck, and you go, that's a lot of blood pulsing off my hand. She's dead. You're in the bottom of a cave.
I get what you're saying.
You're not going to save her.
It's easy to say that you'll do the noble thing, but you never know how you'll react in a situation.
So Juno would have been there for another minute longer before she died. There's no way she lived that long.
No.
Impossible. And then she would have been ripped to shreds.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
By the monsters.
Yeah,
They didn't help
agree.
the fucking cripple that got broke her leg.
Fair
They were like,
point.
see you later.
Oh well, she got grubbed on hard. She was way dead. So yeah, there's nothing they could do in that sense. I understand.
Same thing. There's nothing you can do when someone hits you in the side
True.
of the neck with a
True.
stone pick or whatever you want to call that.
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. Great point. For my favorite scene, I mentioned it already, but the jump scene with the night vision camera, that'll never be topped. That's the best scene in the movie, hands down. But I also really enjoy the scenes where you start to see the creatures in the background.
Oh, 100%.
Like there's one that I rewound it last night. It's when they all go into one of the bigger caves and Juno lights what do you call
Flare.
it? A flare, excuse me. And it kind of lights up the majority of the screen, and you see all of them standing on one side. And on the left, up on like a ridge, you see somebody standing, and you're meant to think that it's one of the girls. And all of a sudden, they slowly crouch down onto all four and hop away. And I'm like, okay, I don't think I noticed that the first couple of times I saw this movie. But then obviously you have Sarah. She's like, they're starting to all freak out, and she just looks over and sees one of them just like drinking water out of that like little river, and then all of a sudden it's gone like that. Like I love those little parts to kind of establish like, okay, what is that? Am I really seeing this? Is this really happening, or am I just losing my fucking mind? Because she's the only one that sees those at first. She also is hearing what is meant to, I think, is meant to be her daughter laughing and giggling, which so you don't really know if she's losing her shit
I'm
or
like,
if
those
it's actually
things don't
happening.
giggle like a child.
Well, she did forget her medication.
Oh, that's a good point too. I forgot about that. Yeah, before or did she forget, or did she take it before she left? I know it showed her.
She
It
took
showed
it
her
before
pill
she left,
bottle on her nightstand.
but how long were they down there?
Yeah.
True, that's a good point
You
as
could
well.
slowly be losing your mind.
Also, I found it impossible if I had to nitpick something. I guess. Well, I have one nitpick, but if I had to nitpick something else, how long were they down in that fucking cave?
We
and
don't
then
know.
all
That's
of a sudden she pops out. It's still daylight.
So the
and she
things
popped
I had
out,
just said aren't nitpicks.
I guess that's a
No,
nitpick.
I think
they're
it's
all
like the
nitpicks.
next day. It has to be the next day.
Must be. Yeah. Okay.
They've been down there for a while.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
You don't lose yourself. 24 hours, no food.
Well, they did eat apples and stuff down there. They did
they
eat
had lunch.
once.
Someone didn't eat, though.
Yeah, Sarah didn't eat.
Sarah didn't eat. Okay.
But I was going to say another thing about the monsters. That's one of those movies that doesn't show you really, like, what they look like in depth.
Kind of does.
Not until
like,
the
later
middle
on.
of it or later on.
You probably don't even realistically get a
don't-
good look at them until about 30 or 40 minutes left in the movie, I would say.
Right. When what's
Yeah.
her face, the doctor says, like, what are we, or Juno says, what are we dealing with here? Like,
Yeah.
look at this monster and tell me what you think.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I think I've already heard some whispers and some ideas about this so far throughout the show. Anyone have any anyone in the cast they particularly hated and wanted to replace? Andrew, I know you weren't a fan of Holly, if I remember correctly. Right?
I would have replaced her.
Yeah,
With
somebody else.
I mean, this is a difficult selection. What's the budget?
You don't have to pick somebody.
How much can I pay somebody?
I don't know. You don't.
Because
You
the
can just
budget, the budget. This was like $3.5 million budget movie.
you can pick whoever you want. We don't have to go by budget standards. I didn't really have any problems with it.
I would have picked Holly. I would have picked the same actress if I was going to kill her off that early anyway.
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, she's kind of
She's a
she's
fucking
in it for the
jerk.
majority of the movie. She's the first one to die, but she's I think when you know who every character is before her, then she's the last one to get introduced. You're like, okay, yeah, she's.
This
gonna be
is the
first
type of
one to
movie
die.
where you don't really need to replace anybody because they
Yeah.
all have very small roles and they all fill them very adequately.
I agree.
It's
with
not
that.
about them; it's about the story. And as long as they don't fuck it up, then it's good.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you have anybody that particularly pissed you off that you would have replaced or no?
You know, the only person, because, I mean, Andrew mentioned a long time ago when we were originally talking about this movie that, like, it's hard to keep all the ladies straight between one and the other and whatever, and, like, I would have replaced the one that I can't tell apart from Sarah sometimes, the other blonde girl. So it's her daughter that's there?
No, well,
What
they're
is the deal
sisters.
with-
They're sisters.
That's
Rebecca?
her sister.
Rebecca. Well, there's the one that's
Or is
the
it
one that's the
Sam?
doctor. The one that's the doctor, and
Dr.
then her
Van Ney,
sister.
Sam. That's Sam.
Okay.
She's the cute one.
And then there's the other blonde one that's
that
not
gotta
Sarah.
That's
It's
got to
supposed
be
to be
Rebecca.
her sister.
That's got to be Rebecca.
Her
It must be
sister?
Rebecca. Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't do anything for me except for when she was, like, climbing on the ceiling of the rock thing. That was pretty badass.
Yeah, it's badass.
I don't know.
badass.
I don't think I'd ever be able to do that with upper strength like that. But,
Okay.
but beyond that, I don't think she really brought anything to the table.
Okay.
You don't even really need her.
Yeah, true. All right, so we already talked about the nitpick of Beth's death being accidental, and maybe Juno shouldn't have been completely blamed for that, which I can totally
That's
see.
not a nitpick.
It's if we had to nitpick something about the movie, it's a nitpick.
No,
I would say.
the movie can do whatever it wants to do. What people choose to say about the movie afterwards is their own fault.
Okay.
That had nothing to do
Yeah.
with the movie. If you choose to portray it that way, that's the way you portray it. Some people
It's part of
portray
the
it
movie.
in a different way.
Right.
Cool.
Don't nitpick. That's not a nitpick
Fair
on the
enough.
movie.
Fair enough. My nitpick is that they changed the ending of the movie for American audiences.
Oh,
That
well,
was
that's
total
not
bullshit.
really a nitpick. That's an indictment on America. That the Brits
So we'll change it to the indictment
thought
on American
no.
category.
Okay, so the Brits thought that this was too dark of an ending for pussy Americans, basically. No, that's basically what I get out of this. They changed the ending for Americans because we're soft and we can't deal with that. There wasn't
Americans
a happy
don't like
ending.
downer endings.
There
Yeah.
wasn't a happy ending.
That's
I
not-
love
it's-
downer
yeah,
endings.
I do too, and I don't get that because that's not unprecedented. Like Get Out changed the ending that is in Get Out is not the original ending of the movie. The original ending of the movie
there's a
is
lot
much
of
darker.
people that I know that don't like bummer endings.
Do you know what I really wish the ending was?
What?
I wish that after she gets out of the cave, she gets down, she gets in her car. When she pulls on the side of the road, I wish a Mack truck just hit her right
Well,
there.
the Mack truck
close.
that went real right
It
by
went
her.
close.
Yeah.
But I wish it hit her and she died. After all that, you'd
would've
be
been-
like, "Oh my god, she went through that much
She
shit
would've,
and she died
Hit by a car.
by
Yeah.
getting
Hit
hit
by a
by a
truck.
car."
You know what's funny though? She would have deserved that.
Yeah, kind of.
Kind
Right,
of.
we deserved it, like just 'cause
She would have
was-
deserved to die that way.
Why?
Yeah.
Oh my god, you guys watched the same fucking movie I watched? So,
Because she left her friend to die?
After she
no.
Oh, no.
She didn't leave anybody to die. She murdered her friend by slamming her in the leg with a fucking ice pick and left her to die. She murdered her. What are you
They
talking
call
about?
that sweet, sweet revenge. My
That's
friend.
not revenge for having sex with someone else.
Stop doing the paper.
No, I'm looking through my notes to find where that's revenge. Time out. So, I all know who your fucking MVP is, because you two fucking sadists.
Wow.
Are you fucking... Did we watch the same movie?
Yes.
And everybody felt the same way. You guys are fucked.
No.
You were cool with that?
I think-
you
I
said
think-
she deserved to live
Yep.
after that. Yeah?
Yep.
After why? Because she had sex with her dead husband? Get over it. It's been a year, you psycho.
I mean,
Maybe that was the way that she actually could finally overcome her trauma by essentially,
The problem
killing her.
is that I blame Beth for this death.
We did-
oh
because
yeah,
we,
Beth didn't die, but then it would be Juno's
no,
fault.
because Beth came back to life from the dead somehow.
Oh, yeah.
Told
How
Sarah
horrible of her to cling to life.
she should have been dead, and she shouldn't sneak up on people when they're in the middle of a traumatic instance. I would have done the same thing.
You could also argue it was dark and she.
It was
didn't know
dark,
that
and she
there was-
came up and she just killed 2 creatures. It was like, oh my god, there's a third. Stabbed her in the neck and went, you're gonna be dead, and they're gonna come and eat me if I don't leave. So I'm gonna leave.
Okay, fair
So
enough.
her murdering of Beth is worse than Sarah's murdering of Juno.
You're just
No, this is what I want to know. How is what she did worse than what Sarah did?
If I can answer your question,
You can't, because you're wrong.
objectively, they are no different. But for rooting interest in the movie, with all that Sarah has been through, I think it's much easier to root for her in that situation and forgive her for that than it is for Juno.
I guess it's safe to say that I don't watch movies the same way you fucks do.
Hey,
you
well,
guys
you know,
are
You don't like a
fucking...
good revenge
at the end of
narrative?
the day.
I like revenge when it's warranted.
All right.
You had sex with my husband. I'm gonna kill you and leave you to die to these creatures. It's not even on the same parallel.
All right.
That's
But
way over the top.
You could say
You could.
if her husband was more upfront with her.
The husband's dead, though.
They might not have been in the car that day because they would have already been separated.
Hmm.
He would have never died. They would have never went on a trip because she wouldn't be talking
Yeah,
to
they're both
Juno.
assholes. The husband
So,
and
I
Juno
mean,
are both assholes.
And
Very
Sarah.
grateful.
And
Yeah.
Sarah. Sarah's a fucking asshole.
We just disagree.
Are you guys so blind to what happened throughout this movie? Oh, yeah, Sarah's a badass, and she pulls that I'm a weak-ass character and then turns into fucking
I
Rambo
guess.
and starts killing everybody, and
Yeah.
that's sweet. But at the same point in time, she's a fucking psychopath. She killed
yeah.
her friend
Okay.
for no reason.
I will grant. I don't know if it's for no reason.
She went
but I will.
based
I will grant
for-
you the fact that she is now a psychopath.
So
It wasn't for no reason.
So you're all about crimes of passion then, which is fair.
when
There's
I'm not
nothing-
involved in it, and it's a movie.
So
Sure.
is it a crime of passion though if it happened a year later, or have you been being a psychopath?
Well, she just found out about it. Arguably, though.
Did she?
Exactly.
Then
Yeah.
she's
Did
fucking.
she or, yeah.
Then she's dull.
All right.
She's obtuse. She's blunt.
Okay.
Her head doesn't work properly, and the fact that you two are defending her bothers me very much.
Okay. All right. Back to my original point. So the reason I was pissed off they changed the ending is because the American ending, the original one, where it just ends after she gets back to the truck, she goes to throw up out the window, and then she sees the ghost of Juno in the passenger seat, and it just ends. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it's dumb.
It makes no sense.
It's absolutely
You need that
stupid.
last scene where she sees Juno in the car, and then all of a sudden she wakes up and realizes she's still in the cave, and she didn't get out, and that she's about to die. That's what the ending should have been. So,
Oh, that's the better ending. But
of course,
Americans,
it is the better ending.
I
So
don't
in that
understand how that's
ending,
that much
in that
worse.
ending,
Like-
Andrew, she arguably got what she deserved in your eyes in the original ending.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. I understand.
And
that.
she also, and so you know that because the fact that why was it Juno's ghost that came up? Because she murdered her.
True. Okay. All right. I will
I'm
grant
glad
you
you guys glossed over the murdering part.
that. I will grant you that.
Okay.
I will grant you that. All right. So next category: best death. Catherine. What about you?
Best death. Come back to me.
Just
I
to
need
piss
think.
Andrew off, there may not be a more satisfying death than Juno, even though it kind of happens off screen. But I mean, there are a ton of brutal kills in this.
You know what's funny?
The creature that gets its eyeballs gouged out by
Oh,
Sarah.
by Sarah
that
when
is
she
gross.
thumbs deep.
Oh, yeah, that
and
was
it's
she
nasty.
goes goes complete like
Yeah.
that's why I like Hills Have Eyes remake. It's the same idea, same
Yeah.
concept.
Oh,
The-
anytime
the
there's an
pussy
eye, anytime
character,
there's an eye gouging, oof.
just yeah.
Like in 28 Days Later, or The Hills Have Eyes, or this movie. Yeah.
It was gross when
there
the
it
girl
is.
I'd replaced would die. When she dies, would they eat her stomach? Don't they eat her stomach?
I think so. Yeah. Okay. Yep. I know that one.
She's like
Yep.
on the other side or something. Of like it wasn't super memorable, but it was disgusting.
So I have two favorite deaths.
Okay. What were they?
First one was Holly ran out of her mind,
Just her
fell
leg.
down the pit, smashed her leg open because she's an idiot. Like, why are you running in the dark?
That was stupid. She is an idiot.
She
Yep.
is an idiot. And then, so they get to that. Anybody notice this little weird part where she already has her broken leg and they're like, if you put any pressure on it, it's going to hurt really badly.
Mm-hmm.
And she's got to weigh $1.20, $1.30. And they get to this point where they climb up a wall straight hand.
And she
gets up it with someone else holding on to her, which I find unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because they all got up at the same speed.
Yeah, that's tough to believe.
And I was like,
sure.
so this bitch with her
Climbed
broken
a wall
leg
with a
climbed
broken
this
leg.
wall.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then they pull. That's when they get up to all those bones everywhere.
That's an awesome
that
scene.
part's fucked
Yeah.
up. And then the thing rips Holly's throat out and rips it
Yeah,
open.
yeah.
That was one of my favorite deaths. The other favorite death is when Juno took the pickaxe and slammed it into Beth's neck, because that was like, I couldn't help but feel bad for her in that situation. You didn't know? She didn't mean to. She was in a state of panic.
Yes, I understand.
And she
Yep.
slammed it into her neck, and she went, well, you're going to die. And so she fled. I don't
Yes.
blame her for that at all. Everyone gives her a bad rap for that.
I think most people can empathize with that she did it by accident, but obviously, and to your point, she probably wouldn't have been able to get her out there to survive anyway. But I think the fact that she kind of abandons her is what makes Juno essentially the real villain of this movie. So that's...
Well, Beth makes it out. Beth's a drama queen. She gets to the end and she's like, don't trust her. She stabbed me in the neck and left me to die. Like it was on purpose. Bitch.
Well, she did do
Oh,
that.
yeah.
She fucked your husband. So, I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
I guess we disagree on that.
Yeah.
All right. I think there's
Innocent mistake.
some seriously untapped potential here for a haunted house based in The Descent. So, hey.
Oh, you didn't find any?
There aren't any.
Oh.
No. So Universal, you need to make that happen. I think this could be a very effective haunted house. This could be very, very scary. Set it in the caves. Have some cave dwellers.
Yeah.
Serious untapped potential here. Like I mentioned last week when we talked about 30 Days of Night, that also is some serious untapped potential.
Oh, 100% pure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Untapped.
All right, $1 million question, folks. Andrew, I'll start with you so you can get it out of your system. Who is your MVP of the movie, my friend?
Juno.
Oh my God, you're such a troll.
No,
you don't
I'm not.
honestly think that.
I do 100% think that. Without Juno, Sarah, nobody, none of them get out of that cave. Juno fucking saves her. Okay, so first off, yes, Juno does put them into that situation.
Correct.
She does pick the cave that none of them have been in.
She lies to everybody.
She lied to
Yeah.
everybody.
She fucks Sarah's husband.
But aside from that, when push comes to shove, she was a badass. She helped everybody. She helped Sarah get to the end. The only reason it was only Sarah that climbed out through it was because she stabbed her in the fucking leg. Sarah is a piece of shit, just as bad as Juno. So if the two MVPs come down to Sarah or Juno, I'm going with Juno. The reason why is because she actually cared when she killed somebody. Sarah laughed at Juno when she killed her. When Juno killed Beth, you could see in her face there was general stress, pain, hurt, but then what came on was her survival mode. If you're going to survive in that situation, you can't care about anybody.
Yeah.
She was dead. It was over. It happened. Don't fucking sneak up on me when there's monsters
Oh my god.
attacking.
Okay, enough with the best.
Fair enough.
All right.
Kat, your MVP.
Sarah.
Okay.
Done.
I had a feeling that you were going to say that.
Because you're a
Fair
piece of
enough.
shit.
Yep.
Could go Sarah here as well. I could, but I'm going to go off the board, and I am going to say...
You say the mom.
The monsters.
Nope. I'm going to say Neil Marshall, the director, because he wrote and directed this movie. He came up with the entire concept. This is widely considered to be one of, if not the scariest movies of the 2000s and probably of the last 20 years. And I think this movie is the epitome of a movie that the sum of all its parts is better than each individual part. I think all the combinations of the different scares, all the different characters, the monsters, everything combines for a fantastic experience. And I think just overall, I would go with Neil
This
Marshall.
guy, Bill
there.
Belichick over here.
Yeah.
Some of its parts. You know what I take out of that? And we don't have to put this on the record.
Indecisiveness, is that what you're going to say?
No, your pick reeks of misogyny.
Misogyny. Okay.
You couldn't deal with the fact that you had to pick from a bunch of women.
No,
The male director.
Kat picked Sarah. I was trying to
I
bring
know.
it to a
Be
different
something
level of
different.
conversation.
Mine was a
so
joke.
Because I picked Sarah, you'd have been like,
No, you could have picked Sarah, but no, it was Sarah, wasn't it? Don't lie to me.
No, I actually agree with that.
You
I
agree
agree
with
with
Sarah as being a
I
piece
agree
of
with
shit?
the writer-director Neil Marshall.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
I do.
Well, that's good.
I do. So we get to this point, and we always ask if this movie is deserving of a sequel. And it turns out there already has been one. The Descent Part 2, which was released in 2009.
Sarah dies in that one.
She does. Well, full confession, I never saw it because I think this movie is perfect the way it is, and I don't think it needs a sequel, in my personal opinion. And as you just said, it also kind of retcons the original ending of the movie, which I can't stand because Sarah is brought back to life. They go back into the cave with like cave diving experts to try and find everybody because they think that Sarah actually killed them all, and she dies.
Wait, so they make a sequel off of Sarah, and she
Yeah,
lives because she died in the UK, but she lived
right
in the US.
So basically, they wanted to make another, and so the only people there were only two characters that returned in the second part: Sarah and Juno, and Neil Marshall, the writer and director.
Juno was in the second one. They both died.
In
the first one.
in a flashback, like a flashback or like a ghost appearance. I haven't seen the movie, so this is just what I read.
Oh, me either.
Yeah, so they're the only two characters from the original movie that return for this one. And it's all new characters, and I just think that kind of dilutes the experience for me a
it's
little
the
bit.
same deal.
You know what I think is
Perfect
funny,
about
though? New Year. So you know what comes with New Year's?
New socks?
Resolutions.
New parts on the outline. A new topic.
You have an idea?
Du jour. I have a new topic called The Others.
Oh, I thought it was... No, what was your thing last week? Andy's...
Andrew's Advancements or whatever it was.
Oh, that was a joke. This is like a real deal. This is called...
Why don't you want Andrew's
No,
opinion?
because I don't even know what that was. Okay, so this is called The Others.
Okay.
In line with that movie, The Others.
Yes,
And this
okay.
is just other questions that are irrelevant to the entire whole thing. So, one thing I noticed throughout the movie is that they use this common phrase that I assume is in line with piece of cake. Mm-hmm. That's piece of cake. They say piece of piss like 4 times in this movie.
Okay. Well, they're all from the UK.
Yeah, okay, so
what
what is that? What is that? Piece of piss?
Piece of piss?
Piece of piss. Does that mean like piece of cake?
I don't even know what you're talking... Like, what
They
you're-
say that in the movie. I watch movies with subtitles, and it said piece of piss. So anytime they say piece of something, it's piece of piss.
I guess I just didn't pick up on that
I
because
didn't
we
either.
didn't watch
Yeah,
it
we
with
didn't watch it with
subtitles.
subtitles.
Ah, see? This is why I watch movies with subtitles. Also, in the beginning of the movie, anyone else notice the bloody claw mark on the side of the wall?
Yes, I did notice
Yes,
that. Yep.
that was
And
like
how
one of
no
the
one
first
seemed to
things.
give
They're like,
one
huh.
fuck about that.
Yeah.
Well, that was cool. I actually liked how they dropped in those creepy elements, like the whole time Juno's saying, like, okay, nobody's been down here before, it hasn't been named, and then they slowly start to find, like, the bloody claw marks on the walls. They find the old cave diving helmets, the old equipment in the ceiling that people
map?
used.
That,
The map,
caveman
the
map?
caveman stuff. That was kind of cool, the caveman paintings.
Another part of The Others will be the joke I found. Mm-hmm. Anybody remember it?
No.
I got
No.
a joke for you.
Okay.
How do you give a lemon an orgasm?
I don't know, Andrew.
I remember when this happens in the movie, but I was not able to make out what the response was, but you were because of subtitles. What is it?
What was... how
Tickle its citrus instead of clitoris. Citrus.
citrus.
I like that. That's good.
You guys didn't catch on that?
I didn't.
See?
This
is why you gotta watch movies
I know,
with
with
subtitles.
subtitles.
I know, you're a
I
big
know,
proponent
I know.
for that.
Oh,
yes.
man. I've been
Understood.
trying.
Any others?
That's all I got.
That's it.
That's all I got, but that was
That's it for
good.
the others?
That's
Okay.
some dynamite. Dynamite.
Dynamite.
Ignore me.
Perfect. Final thoughts on The Descent, you guys, before we wrap up. Kat, I'll start with you.
I think I think we've said enough.
Okay.
Maybe The Others takes over final thoughts.
Sure, that's fine. I got nothing else to say.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great movie. It's fantastic. It's scary. It's got everything you want. Go watch it if you have. If this one has flown under the radar somehow, you can watch it for free on Amazon Prime with ads. Actually, it's because it's part of like IMDb TV, I guess. So yeah, definitely go see The Descent if you haven't done that already. Anything else before we put a bow on this bitch, you guys?
No, put a bow, wrap it up.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this episode on The Descent of America's Hometown Horror. Here's where you can find our pages on the following social media platforms, including YouTube and Facebook. Just go on there. Just search for America's Hometown Horror, and we will pop right up. Like, subscribe, mash that bell to get notified when you get new episodes of our show. Don't do that.
That's the bell. I'm mashing.
That's not a bell, that's a table.
You can also tweet at us at Hometown Horror. You can find us on Instagram at Hometown Horror Pod. And you can shoot us an email at hometownhorrorpodcast@gmail.com. You can also listen to our show anywhere you get your podcasts, but especially Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spreaker, and wherever else you get your shows. My name is Mike. I've been joined by my co-hosts Kat and Andrew. Thanks for listening to another episode of America's Hometown Horror. Say goodbye to your listeners, folks.
Adios, muchachos.
Goodbye. Juno sucks. Hey everyone, it's Mike from America's Hometown Horror, and just wanted to say thank you again for listening to another episode of our show, because of course, we would be nothing without you listeners. If you are interested in more local Plymouth podcasts, I would highly recommend you check out some shows by our cohorts on the Inebriart Podcast Network. That's right, the Inebriart Podcast Network, folks. In addition to America's Hometown Horror, you can find the Inebriard Podcast, Bar Talk, Theme Park Legends, Retro Redoctopus, and Old Colony Cast. Head on over and give them a listen.